The time has come, ladies and gentlemen, to crown a champion. Welcome to the DreamHack Open 2015 Stockholm. 2 men remain after an arduous 2 days of StarCraft action. Out of a 96-player bracket, one will walk away a DreamHack champion, one possibly back-to-back is Stockholm champion.
What a sick intro.
It's going to be amazing. Thank you all so much for joining us. Welcome to the desk. Before we get things underway here with the grand finals, I do want to say another big thanks to our sponsors, whom without this $25,000 prize pool, we would not be able to run this awesome tournament. Those sponsors being ISO, Razer, Intel, and Monster Energy. I'm joined in the desk by Rotterdam, Apollo, and Todd. Guys, big finals, a lot on the line for both players here.
Yeah, best 2 players of the tournament go head-to-head now, and for HyuN, there's so much on the line. With the victory that he had in the previous round, he was able to tie up with the 16th player, Fantasy, in the global finals at WCS. With a victory here, not only would he now become a 2-time DreamHack champion, but he would eliminate Fantasy from the global finals and qualify to play at BlizzCon in just 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, HyuN's put in some fantastic work. He's this close to properly qualifying for the top 16 here in WCS points and for BlizzCon. If he was to lose here, though, you know, maybe Fantasy just clench his fist and say, all right, I take care of you myself in the tiebreaker match. So it's not over here. He needs to win one more match, not just to be the champion, but to qualify as well.
It's really bizarre, because this is one of those storylines that we hype up since the round of 64. You know, if HyuN wins this entire tournament, then he's going to BlizzCon immediately, and then most of the time it falls flat somewhere in the round of 16 or in the round of 32. He's actually done it. And if you're Fantasy right now, you're just like, this is not even real, man. Like, this guy actually beat Rain, then he beats Reality, who didn't drop a map throughout the entire tournament. And it's really unique as well. Both these guys have won a DreamHack, and they both did it off the back of a ZvZ final, and now they are here again in the grand final playing that same matchup. Pretty crazy coincidence.
Who's the better Zerg now?
Both players have had really impressive roads to this point. We can take another look at the bracket for those of you who have missed out on any of the action that's taken place over these 2 days. And, you know, starting with that story about HyuN, we talked about it. He needed to come through and win everything. The players he took out time after time, we doubted him, and he has delivered.
Yeah, he was so good against Fantasy, and then all of a sudden, he dragged Rain to his level and then beat him 3-1 with the aggressive type of playstyle that we saw. And then he did the same versus Reality as well. HyuN made them play with his type of style, and he crushed it. He looked so good.
He dragged Rain to his level.
Yeah, that sounds so bad. You made him sound like he's Goody or something.
Right? In terms of the aggressive playstyle, he didn't make he didn't play with Rain's playstyle. He dragged him down to play the aggressive, you know, scrappy, that type of
I know.
play.
It came out a little wrong, Shell. It's okay.
That happens very often.
We've got a grand final ahead of us. It's all good.
Yeah, and Solar coming in, you know, we saw him have such a close series against Snoo, and we were talking to ourselves like, okay, both of them would have a tough time with SOS. Solar gets the big upset. He won last time at DreamHack Stockholm. He's on the cusp of having a repeat. BlizzCon isn't on the line for him here, but there's a lot of money at stake and the glory of having those 2 championships.
Yeah, last time actually Solar in finals against Sue, it was a pretty easy match too for him. Like he's pretty good himself at ZvZ. Struggled a little bit against Snoot, sure, but Snoot's a beast in ZvZ himself. So now going up against somebody like HyuN, I feel like this is definitely up in the air, and it could be anybody's game, especially with how HyuN's been playing. He's been playing incredible.
Yeah, and HyuN also has a very good track record in ZvZ. Just a couple of weeks ago, HyuN won the Hell It's a Boot Time tournament in base trade, or by base trade in Canada, in the finals against Jaedong. So he also knows how it is to win a ZvZ final. He's done it before, also against Jaedong at the DreamHack. It's both these guys on paper. They look really good to take it all.
But Solar's really confident. He mentioned it in the winner's interview that he's played about 10 times in recent times in online tournaments against HyuN, and he's won about 9 of them, which is a massive confidence boost, especially the way that he played against SOS, because that series was probably the series of the tournament for a lot of people. That was really fun, really high level, and crazy. He's now won that. He goes up against a player that he's confident against. The stars seem to be aligning for him.
That was crazy and impressive, but at the same time, maybe it got him a little bit tired. You know, HyuN against Reality, he had an impressive win, but he made a bunch of links and roaches, rushed him and killed him. You know, didn't really break a sweat there. So I feel like after a series like this, you have to be a little bit tired. And Solar, you know, it's getting a little bit late at the same time. Let's hope he's keeping up with his monster consumption here to make sure he's on point.
Maybe a little tired, but at the same time, you get so much momentum out of a victory like that. Especially against ZvZ, somebody that has had your number in the past, you know, defeated you 3-0 barely a month ago in Seattle in a big tournament final back then. If you can then bounce back and win in such a crazy series. I mean, later tonight, yeah, he's going to be mentally exhausted. I think right now, he's riding that wave, man, and he's feeling so good.
And we can talk a bit more about the matchup in a little bit. We are going to meet the finalists on stage. In Control, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, Nathanius. Thank you for asking. But more importantly, how are you guys doing? All right. That is the universal sign for awesome. DreamHack Stockholm. We are entering into the grand final show right now.
He's in trouble. Some great fumbles going down. The Ultra's closing oh so quickly. Roach and Hydra all over the place.
Big play coming out for 4GG. He runs straight past that tree, goes straight for the Roaches here. What a move, what a build, what a strategy.
DreamHack Stockholm. We start off with 96 players. We're down to 2. Both of these guys are DreamHack champions, but only one will be a repeat champion. Please join me in welcoming HyuN and Solar. We've had some amazing games, guys, and you guys have been at the heart of it. Incredible series. It all comes down to this. So I'm going to ask just a couple of quick questions, and we're going to get right into the action. HyuN, Solar says recently online he's got something like 10 wins to 1 loss against you. He's feeling very confident, but you're wearing pajama pants, and there's not even a bit of irony about it. Talk about your confidence going into this.
솔라 선수가 이겼다고 하는데 굉장히 편안하게 보셨고 이번 다음 경기에 소감 한마디.
일단 민수가 좀 거짓말 좀 보태가지고 좀 말해가지고 형을 좀 바보를 만들었는데 좀 그렇고 제가 여기 올 때 10%밖에 안 되는 확률이었어요. 블리즈컨에 갈 확률이 이 결승을 이김으로써 100% 확률을 만들어 보겠습니다.
Well, so I think that Solar is a liar, and I came here to DreamHack with a 10% chance to go to BlizzCon, and with the same amount of percentage, I'm gonna make it 100% to become a winner.
Hey! All right. Solar, you guys have taken down some pretty big juggernauts on your way here. It's been very exciting. You stand in the way of this man going to BlizzCon, and you just kind of want to win another DreamHack. So what do you think about what he just said?
So many people are here first, and I'm very nervous now. But I won last year, same situation. So same happens in this year also.
All right. Both these guys seem really confident. So last question. I want to know what you think the score is going to be on your way, I hope, your prediction to winning this thing.
그래서 이제 시합을 하는데 몇 대 몇으로 어떻게 결과가 나올 것 같으신지요?
누가 이기든 아마 3대 1 정도로 될 것 같아요.
So whoever wins, I think the result is gonna be 3-1.
Okay, 3-1. Solar, do you agree with that?
I think 3-1 or 3-2. It will be hard series.
All right, we got a hard series predict between these two guys. Go ahead and shake hands and then get in your booths because this action is about to jump off.
Thank you very much. In control as we get ready to get into our grand finals. Guys, both players coming out confident. 3-1s, 3-2s. No one's calling for a sweep here.
Actually, that's not that confident, though,
Yeah.
I thought. Like, he's showing a lot of respect to HyuN because he's an older brother, and in Korea, you have to respect your elders.
But in reality, Solar thinks 3-0 easy victory.
But it's kind of weird as well to predict 3-1 either way. You know, like, why not a 3-2 either way? Like, why is it like, I'm going to win 3-1? Or, you know, if he takes 2 maps, it's just over for me. Like, it's going to be 1-3, you know? Let's not even play map number 4 if I'm down 1-2.
Yeah, that was weird.
That is an interesting way of looking at it, isn't it, though? Both players really, I think, for HyuN especially, he just has so much. If he wins this best of 5, he's going to the global finals. He'll be playing at BlizzCon. He won't have to do that decider match against Fantasy. It's a huge chip off his shoulder. Does this give him a boost?
Oh yeah, I mean it's given him a boost throughout the entire tournament from the very get-go of his first series throughout. He was like, okay, I have a very little chance, but I'm gonna go for it. That's why he's here to qualify and properly qualify, not just to tie in 16th position and 17th, but to actually eliminate Fantasy.
And you know, I also think this is kind of a special tournament run for HyuN, because of course he has won tournaments in the past, but people often said like, yeah, that's against the Koreans that live abroad, you know, that's against foreigners. This tournament he took down Fantasy and Rain. I mean, those are some pretty damn big names, and also Reality in the semi-final, all Pro League monsters on their own. Of course, you know, Rain has been a foreign team for a while, but yeah, those are pretty much the big names out there. So HyuN is not doing it against, you know, the Hawks and the Muslims and stuff, which are still very good players, but he's actually doing it against those guys that people say normally he does not beat. And I think that could make this tournament extra special for HyuN.
I feel like I'm repeating myself, but Fantasy, he's having one hell of a stressful day right now. Like, he's been watching the entire day, hoping that HyuN would lose at some point, and he's going to continue here in these grand finals.
It's funny because Fantasy, he's put in this position because of HyuN, because he lost to HyuN yesterday, and he just watched him game after game go one step closer and closer and closer until he tied with him, and now just one game away from eliminating him from the global finals.
It's so scary, and we're going to take a closer look at our finalists now as we get ready to go into those matches. But for Fantasy, especially on watching on the side, he's like, if only I just prepared a little bit more for that aggressive play that ended up knocking him out when he played versus HyuN yesterday. He had an opportunity to control his own destiny, and now it's out of his hands because this man destroyed him.
It feels like every single player in this tournament should have prepared better against this guy, because he's played the same aggressive style since 2010, where he just roach bailing, all in, aggressive play every single time. And even against Reality, it just seemed like he kept on doing the same thing and it kept on working.
You know where this comes from a little bit, because in the very early days, before HyuN was even able to make it out to all these events, he was playing a lot of cross-server online tournaments. He played Go for StarCraft 2s and stuff from Korea with 300 ping, and he's like, well, I'm not really going to be able to cast spells or micros, so what I will do is just make a lot of units and run to the other side of the map and win immediately. Every single opportunity I can get to win, I'm just going to win because I play with 300 ping. It's amazing how he has still carried this style for years.
Delay or not, man.
Yeah, I know.
Delay or not, he learned to inject properly, learned to attack at the right time with very few units and somehow make it work. It's like some hardcore training, man. That's like some Dragon Ball material kind of training, you know, where you put like a bunch of weights on yourself and then you take off the suit at some point and like you're liberated, you're fighting 10 times better. And in this case, HyuN, it really helped him, I guess.
He went into the hyperbolic time chamber of Battle.net.
Yeah, it's a scary thing to consider because it also gives him that killer instinct to recognize those opportunities where his opponents are weak, even though he's playing against the best of the best. And looking at Solar, we've already seen a bit of his ZvZ today. Yeah. Is there anything that stands out that we think applies to a matchup versus someone like HyuN?
He played pretty well against Snoot, to be fair. I mean, Snoot had a fantastic series overall, but to identify Solar was very good at defense in the series against Snoot. We saw Snoot play some aggressive plays that Solar made work, and he was also capable of being aggressive himself. If Snoot, hadn't have scouted him as well as he was doing throughout the series, it couldn't have gone that easy.
Snoot does pretty well usually against HyuN, and now Solar beats Snoot. Is it any indicator that Solar's favored maybe in this grand finals?
I think one more thing that makes me think that Solar is a little bit favored is that HyuN, when he beat Jaedong, he used a lot of early pulls, a lot of very aggressive openings. Yeah. But when Snoot did that early today against Solar, he just shut that down over and over again. So HyuN is probably going to have to bring more than that, or he's going to have to do it even greedier and even faster than Snoot was doing it.
It is interesting to consider that HyuN has used a lot of aggressive plays throughout the course of this tournament. Does Solar need to keep those checks in place, or will what he did against Snoot still be totally fine in a matchup like this?
I think what he did against Snoot is pretty good going into what he can do against HyuN here as well. He's just got to be careful of the early aggressive plays that HyuN is capable of. And if he's able to just deflect all of those, he's going to be looking pretty good, to be honest. And for me, he's the favorite coming in.
Interesting as well is that the map veto that Solar vetoed is Iron Fortress once again, so wants to get rid of the 4-player map. And then the other 4-player map, Cactus Valley, is going to be the final map in this series. So we may not even see it at all if it's going to be a 3-1 like they predicted.
It certainly does make things a bit interesting. Do you feel that for Zerg versus Zerg, map-wise, there's anything that we should really be looking out for? Is there anything that jumps out to you?
I mean, in those 4-player maps, you can roll the dice a little bit harder. People can get very unfortunate with their opening. And, if one guy goes heads first, super greedy, and you play the very defensive style because you're worried about the fact that this is a 4-player map, you can find yourself a little bit behind already without anything truly happening in the game. So he's eliminating that, which gives me the idea that Solar is very confident in normal games.
All right, have to keep our eyes open then for any of the aggressive plays that HyuN may bring. But it is time to start the grand finals. It's time to start HyuN between Solar. Boys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Nathaniel. Joining with Todd and Rotterdam for the 3-way cast for the grand finals of DreamHack Open here in Stockholm as Zerg versus Zerg, as these two former champions go head-to-head to find out who's going to be a repeat champion, Roddy.
We all know so little about the matchup. It takes 3 of us over here to cast the ZvZ series.
If we put all our brains together, we might be able to do this.
Our combined forces maybe are going to equal one Zerg analyst.
Exactly. All right, we're almost ready to kick this grand finals off. I think it's going to be a very entertaining finals. HyuN, Apollo, predictions right now, if you have to make them?
For me, I'm thinking Solar. As much as HyuN has done well, it's too much of a dream if he was out to win this and eliminate Fantasy.
All right, well, I'm personally thinking that this man that's spawning in the right top side of Moonlight Madness is going to have the edge in this finals. Give it up for Rockets, HyuN.
One more game and he qualifies for the global finals, eliminating Fantasy. Fantasy going to be on the edge of his seat for this one, and hopefully you guys at home are as well, because down here in the bottom left-hand side, as the blue Zerg player playing for Samsung Galaxy card, it's Solar!
Yeah, you asked me who I'm feeling, and I'm feeling Solar, and I think it's actually very interesting if he beats HyuN here, because we get that tiebreaker match between HyuN and Fantasy, and as much as I like him, seeing one extra match just before BlizzCon would just make me so happy. I think that one time when it happened between Naniwa and Revival, it was so cool to see that.
It was crazy. Yeah. It was an awesome series, and there were a lot of people watching it. There's so much on the line, obviously, and that would be a great series if it was to happen again with HyuN and Fantasy.
Solar opening up red safely over here in game number 1, going with that pull first, knowing what kind of a crazy Zerg HyuN could be. HyuN perhaps picking up on it, that Solar is a tiny bit worried about his crazy play, so he's going to go hedge first. Not a huge difference, but still a small economic advantage for the Rocket Zerg.
Mind games are going to be so important throughout this series. I mean, we know it, especially in Zerg versus Zerg, the build order advantages you can get just because you know and guessing what your opponent can do.
Yeah, it seems like HyuN's playing to his image a little bit here already with the build orders, where he knew that Solar's probably would want to play it safe himself, so he goes for the hatchery first, a little bit on the riskier side of things, even follows up with an extractor before the pull, actually.
I think there is a good chance we're going to see multiple two-base Spire plays again from Solar. He really showed us early today that he's a big fan of it, that he likes these builds. And I think, you know, the ZvZs that I've seen of HyuN in the last few months, and have actually been quite a few, he's going to try to punish that before Munilisk are even out on the field. No lay attack, just nothing but roaches, lings, maybe a few banelings, and just hell or glory, you know, no transition anymore.
All right, so no early aggression coming out from either side. We are going to enter the mid-game in a decent position. We do have a slight lead for HyuN when it comes to the gas intake for Zergling speed and so on. And Solar's going to poke forward with his oval, and because it is hatchery first, he's going to get inside, see gas being mined, and then can compare it to his own. But there's very little difference in it. 20 gas difference in it. It's nearly a couple of seconds.
Seeing gas being mined is awesome, but you always want to send that overlord just a tiny bit further because you want to actually click on that extractor, right? How much gas is truly being mined? Is he mining more after 100? How many drones is he keeping on the extractor? Small things like that can already give you quite a bit of info in ZvZ.
Every single programmer actually knows that that Zergling speed research time is 110 seconds. So
I know what he's thinking.
Yeah, he just wants a hug. That's all he wants.
Yeah, that's all he wants, Roddy.
But the red
just a hug, yeah?
Just a hug.
The blue overlord.
Cheeky cuddle, Roddy.
Cheeky cuddle. The blue overlord did something wrong. He's like, come on, forgive me, man. And the guy is like, no. Just like, you've messed up one too many times, sir.
Not playing games anymore with you.
Balin Nest coming down for both players, pretty much identical in terms of their setup here. We do see Solar stretching a little bit further ahead with his drone incomers. We do see HyuN building 4 Zerglings, and that's kind of, you know, for scouting information. To get in there, have a look, does he have that Balin Nest down? Has he, you know, done something crazy, like gone for a fast layer? So it's going to be important to grab this information shortly.
I think this is a map where it's kind of hard to be very aggressive early on with Lings and Banes. Like, you can always try it, of course, but I think it's a little bit difficult, especially because it's so easy to get queens on the ramp.
HyuN's going to try it, though.
Yeah, 16 Lings are going to be on the way here for him. And I think going into the series, if we had to predict who was going to be aggressive, I think everybody would have agreed that it's HyuN. Is Solar going to be ready on time,
He doesn't know about it yet. I mean, he's seen Lings coming through now on the minimap. We can see.
Oh my god. He's getting so close on multiple moments, but he's still squeezing out a few more drones. He's seeing this pretty much as late as he could have.
Solar's going to have 4 Banelings back at home. Is it going to be enough? If he got some of them here with the queens that he's got,
yeah, he's going to try and get rid of them. 2 queens holding him down. Good target fire from Solar. He brings 1 down. He's going to try and bring the others down. And a lot of Banelings here for the defense of Solar. And this should be a pretty easy setup. 1 Baneling gets into the drones, and then the Lings are coming to finish them off. But he only gets 2 so far. This is a pretty good defense.
Yeah, excellent the defense so far. A lot of drones. A Solar on HP though. A couple of Lings would have been so nice for HyuN. Maybe even a whole position move, but there was just a little too much for Solar.
And look at the worker difference.
Yeah, 2 kills, 3 kills here on the drones only. So now we have 38 drones for Solar, 31 for HyuN. Already falling behind in a game like this against a Zerg as solid as Solar. It's going to be really tough.
We pointed it out earlier that was going to be the key to success with Solar because his defense against these type of attacks is so solid, and he showed it once again.
The layer is still relatively quick for HyuN though, so it's not like he's down and out and that he's miles behind in tag. As 1 Baneling does connect with a couple of Lings, but he was hoping to do a little bit more. We saw how many drones were injured there from that single Baneling. Imagine if just 1 more Baneling, the one that blew up between the Baneling nest and the hatch, if that one would have been able to make it into the mineral line, we would have been looking at a completely different game right now.
HyuN's doing a fantastic job of catching up on the drone count here, by the way. He's going to equalize that here in a second, potentially trying to run in there to get some information. He's just going to see that the lair is about to finish for Solar.
I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's pretty close overall. I mean, the worker count, the army count, the overall supply, and even the timing of the Spire coming in.
Can you believe that he actually got the quicker Spire down than Solar did?
Spire down, and Solar's going to throw it too. We're going to have air versus air, baby.
He's fully accepting the challenge, which is surprising because Solar, he's shown how much he likes playing Mutas. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he likes to play Mutas against Mutas every single time. So it's going to be interesting to see how HyuN handles himself against somebody like Solar, who's been playing a lot with those Mutas.
Yep, nothing but drones on the way. Solar may be expecting Munilisk, but he hasn't seen it yet, right? And I don't think a single Zergling of Solar made it into the main base. He's going to send in at Overseer, and I think he's going to be very surprised when he sees that Spire timing. It's very important that he does, though, because if he does not see it, then there is a good chance that he flies a couple of Munilisk across the map and he takes an unfavorable engagement, and it's very hard to run or fly away from a Muta engagement.
Well, he's definitely seen it now. Spire almost complete for both players. And
so Mutalisk against Mutalisk, we can expect car pace upgrades being made here, and Usually people don't transition until very, very late, right? Potentially into infestors down the line, which is still pretty risky.
I think it's going to be complete air here. It's going to come down to how, if they can snipe extractors, it's going to come down to Ling run-bys and all these type of things. If you can break the rocks down, that's going to be a huge advantage, but can either of them find any time for something like that?
It's very funny how Lings often make the difference in a Muda game.
Yeah.
It's like not with just run-bys and stuff, and just trying to win the skirmish on the ground, but also if you have Lings below your Mutalisks, when the Mutalisks are fighting each other, they can absorb so much damage from these bouncing glaives that can really make the difference.
Usually in these types of wars, it's going to be the player that can multitask better, can be able to defend and attack at the same time, send different waves in multiple directions.
Or the player that attacks first.
Solar, the only player actually to go for a Spore here, I think, so far, which is, I think, on the third base. On this map, the dynamic is actually going to be very interesting with the rocks, because if neither player takes down the rocks, you can't really attack with Zerglings and Banelings against somebody who's staying back at home. So potentially, they're just going to be massing Mutas and eventually taking a fight.
Yeah, and then it's going to come down to, one or two Mutalisk advantage or not, and it depends if you can see if you have that.
But it's so hard for both players to make a read. Like, we have access to all the numbers, and we see that this is pretty much a dead even game. The players, they don't know as much as we know, and it's very hard to figure out for them, when is it the right time for me to actually try to make something happen?
And it's sometimes, positioning can be a little bit random too, because you have no idea, especially because the overlords are mostly being cleaned up for both sides. It's hard to know who's your problem. But this is a big move from HyuN. This is something which Solar cannot allow to give away.
Now, since Solar is throwing down more and more Spore Crawlers, I have the feeling that he's misreading this tiny bit. Good micro there, one of these Mutalisks being thrown back, but at the same time, it seems like Solar has a few more Mutalisks, and HyuN is going to disengage for now.
He shows some serious hardness here to attack into this.
Lings underneath here, and that's going to help out. Splash damage just being thrown around to the Lings, but it does look like Solar has slightly more numbers, and HyuN takes a fight that he wasn't quite going to win.
And he falls very far behind in the Muta count here, 12-8 for a second. He's going to restart production supply-wise. Solar's doing fantastic, 125, but can he attack though? He can start walking on the rocks to attack
He can get to the third, there's no anti-air there, there's just a single queen. And the Mutalisks are going to go to try and defend this location.
He picks up one more, it's still 15 against 11, and it may not sound like a big deal, but that's a very big deal in Mutalisk versus Mutalisk. And a couple of these Mutas from HyuN are so injured as well, he has to be very careful, man. He's losing way too many Mutas.
Yeah, and now Solar is trying to bring down the rocks of his own here, and if he can break these down, he's going to open up a secondary pathway for these Zerglings to run around, and he's going to find another Mutalisk there. Oh, luckily gets away.
He might want to try and kill those rocks. Yeah, look, if he can kill this here, it would take a very long time for HyuN to break this as well and get in there. And the Zerglings are going to counter-attack.
Why has he got the Zeldog? It's how he doesn't see. He can see it, but this is huge. And all of a sudden, HyuN gets to the rocks of his own.
Yeah, but still, Solar is going to be able to break these rocks before, and I think that Solar is going to be able to ravage his base perhaps even quicker.
If he loses this third, though, he's going to get back in time.
He's going back to try and defend against this with the Mutas and Zerglings. And since the Zerglings took so long to break this, the Mutas are actually going to help quite a bit against this. HyuN tries to evacuate, but he gets surrounded.
I mean, he bought a little bit of time for himself, but he's going to end up losing so many Lings, and he's still down quite a few Mutalisks as well. Solar is just getting much better trades.
Yeah, 40 army supply advantage for Solar now.
Funka is struggling to observe, you can tell. He's doing a fantastic job, though.
A crazy Zerg versus Zerg here, and a big action coming in for Solar. He's got the attention of the Mutalisks on the natural, and he bursts through to the third base here. He finds 3 queens. There is no defense here at the moment, and they're going to get picked off easily. And he's going to go for the third if he's able to bring that down, or at least he's going to get the drones, and he clears out 14, 17 workers.
Yeah, getting those queens is so big because there's not a single Spore Crawler here, and he's still so far ahead in the Mutalisks. There are Lings in the natural of HyuN as well. Solar again playing a phenomenal ZvZ in this tournament here in game number 1 as well of the grand finals. He's just all over the place, man, and the moment he won that first fight, he just took absolute control of this game.
He's just going to keep on applying pressure here. He knows that he skills so much. He's got way more Mutas, way more everything really with killing that third base. HyuN's just trying to hang in there. He's trying to get a good fight somehow. I don't think Solar's going to give it to him though just yet. He's taking his sweet time flying around with the Mutas.
And now that he's not mining from his third base, the Mutalisk count is going to go out of control for Solar. It's already 31-27, but it's about to get even worse. Trust me, 6 more are on the way for Solar, and this is an absolutely fantastic position for him.
The gap is going to keep on widening here as we see the supply completely take off here for Solar. And in a second, he might just be ready to try and end it, I think.
I mean, it's 22 drones against 57 right now. Every second that goes by, Solar gets just further and further and further ahead. He knows it as well. The only hope that HyuN has is that he somehow wins a big Muta fight. But in the main base of Solar, with Queens helping out against more Mutalisks, there should be no way.
GG! Solar takes map number 1 of this best of 5. and is one step closer to his second trophy. Unfortunately, HyuN, in a battle of multitasking air versus air Mutalist fights, he doesn't come out on top.
I think it was just the first fight, man. When you take the first Mutalist fight on the other side of the map, you take it with 1 or 2 or even 3 Mutalists less, because those Mutalists are still traveling from your main base to your Muta force. It's on the other side of the map. And Solo is like, well, cool, I've got all my Mutalists here. Let's fight. It was 14 against 14 Mutalists on the map, but the Mutalists that were actually fighting, it was 14 against 11 or maybe even 10. And well, then you can just take that fight. The moment you win the first fight, it's like Phoenix against Phoenix, like Viking against Viking. If you win the first fight, it's so hard to turn that around.
I'm really surprised that Solar actually had the heart to go for that fight here, because he didn't necessarily like he had such a bigger flock of mutas. Like even us observing, like it
could have gone the other way around. It's so very difficult and very delicate to judge if you do have that 1 or 2 more, and they were so similar in numbers, but he knew, and he was brave enough to take the fight.
Yeah, Roddy's analysis was on point, and I think Solar knew that, though. He knew that there wasn't going to be nearly as many mutas from his opponent on that location, so just attacking into it. When you're on that side of the map, you know that you're going to have more Solar, and if you start winning that fight, I mean, he never let go of his advantage. He just kept on increasing it.
And even, it's just like in a roach versus roach war, right? Like even when the fight starts up even, your reinforcements are still going to be quicker. Like yes, mutas reinforce quick, but if they have to fly all the way from the other side of the map to that location, that's still a nice advantage for you if your name is Solar and you're fighting on pretty much your third base.
And it pretty much came down to that fight. And the next map's going to be Coda. You know, with the maps, there's not too much to look into it in terms of what could we see on this map, because Zerg vs Zerg obviously is going to be played out pretty much identical throughout. It comes down to the mind games of the openers and where we're going to go from there.
Do you think that HyuN, after a game like this, he tells himself, I don't want to play Muta versus Mutas against this guy. I just want to go Roaches, Hydralists, try to play my own style because he's just too good. Muta versus
and there is a good chance that because even though HyuN might be a good Mutalist player as well, he might, let's say, 1 out of 10 games goes for him into Muta versus Muta. Well, if your name is Solar, probably 5 out of 10 games go into Muta versus Muta.
All right, game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side is the red Zerg player. Make some noise for HyuN!
Fantasy is finally caught a break here as HyuN loses map number 1, but he's far from over here in this best of 5. His opponents starting in the top left-hand side. He's up by 1 map. He wants to be a repeat champion here. DreamHack, it is Solar!
A long time ago since he won that tournament, almost a year ago in Stockholm.
It's really crazy how many ZvZ finals we've had here at the DreamHack Opens, man. It's just like, even when you look at the player pool in the start of this tournament, if you would have told me where you were going to see a ZvZ final, I would have told you you're wrong, man. We
predicted a PvP. We thought it'd be SOS and Rain, not a Zerg vs Zerg.
Or maybe Dark, maybe Linux, but this is a very surprising final, and the fact that it's again ZvZ, that does really surprise me.
It does surprise me as well, Roddy. Spawning pool is going to start at the same time here for both. There's actually even in the top 16 of the WCS World Rankings. I think Zerg's the least represented race with just 4 right now. Potentially 5 if HyuN was to qualify. So to see them do well here.
I mean, 5 is not that bad out of 16. That's pretty much as even as it's going to be.
But it's a maybe 5. Imagine if it's just 4 then. Not nearly as good.
Oh, both players opening a little bit safe here coming into Coda. This is a map that has been quite popular for the early spawning pool builds, but both have gone 15 at spawning pool, followed up by the pretty fast hatchery afterwards, and then gas exactly at the same time here as well.
The hatch is a little bit further away from the ramp than it is on Moonlight Madness, so there is a chance that aggressive play is going to have a slightly more success over here, but at the same time, Coda is a map that everybody knows so well. It's very hard to sell a story to your opponent that he's actually going to believe and that he's going to drone up like a madman. Like guys like Solar, they're just so well experienced in this matchup. They know when they can drone, and sometimes if they're not 100% sure, then they just won't drone immediately.
Would it be good for Solar to try and mix up different stuff than just the Spire play that he seems to like a lot, or is it just his best build?
I definitely, there's going to be obviously, you know, greedy ways to play against the Spire play and definitely different counters to it. I remember when Zanster was up here, he said a great way to play against Mulis is 1-1 Lings. But that is very, very weak to types of all-ins, so it's going to be very key for Solo to mix it up.
That's also a very unique style, though. That's the style that you really need to practice a lot. It's not like you're in the final of the tournament, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's try 1-1 Lynx, you know, see how well I do. You definitely need a lot of experience with that build to make it work.
If SOS was Zerg, though.
He'd do everything and anything.
Definitely would try that, potentially, yeah.
And probably make it work as well. That's the scariest thing.
If only Zerg had Dark Templar.
Solar just wants the Hawk, man, over and over again.
He's a lovable guy, and he's got lovable overlords.
I mean, the red overlord is turning around a little bit. In the last game, he had his back to him, and now it's like, well, I'll show you half my face.
Don't turn your back to me.
In the next game,
Game
they'll
number
actually
3,
hug.
though, they're going to kiss. This is a love story happening right here, boys.
Still better than Twilight, boys.
All right, Baneling Nest has gone down here for HyuN, hidden at the back of his base. And Solar has his own at the front, not afraid to just slap that down there. Also provides a bit of protection for that queen that can slide in between the Baneling Nest and the hatchery. Are we going to see aggression from HyuN again? He tried last time. Wasn't super successful, no.
Yeah, I don't think he should. I think he should just try and drone up. 8 links already started here, though, for him.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of a fake.
Yeah, just a bit of pressure, force something.
Try to make Solar scared, potentially, and then drone up behind this.
Yeah, it's very funny how it works, because often the first play that makes some links forces out a little bit of an overreaction, and then even though you hurt your economy at first, then you actually pull ahead later on, because your opponent might be making a spine temporarily, makes a few more links than he really needs, maybe morphs an extra baneling or two, and then suddenly you pull ahead in the work account, despite the fact that you were the one spending larva first at Zerglings.
Well, we saw a mirror build early on in the previous game, other than for the Zerglings, but so far here, HyuN is going to be the one going for Roachhorn behind this.
Well, here comes a little bit of pressure, and Solar's well equipped to deal with this. The work on the ramp doesn't really do too much there, actually, and allows the Zerglings in anyway. But there's a lot of links coming out from Solar, so not only is he going to be having enough units to defend this, he's also going to flip the switch and go to the other side of the map, showing to be aggressive himself.
On the unbuildable plate with his Banelings?
No, I think it was 2 Banelings for 2 Banelings, because HyuN had 2 Banelings there as well.
Well, here we go. We're going to see a lot of units spread themselves to the side of the map.
It's really funny because Solar has a lot of links, but at the same time, it seems like HyuN wants to be aggressive over here with all these roaches that he's making. But it's going to be very hard for HyuN to march across the map when Solar has so many links. He's going to try to counterattack immediately. Misplay there by HyuN. 2 Banelings for 2 links.
Well, he should have enough here, though, with double queens, Banelings morphing as well. And he almost has a spine crawl, coming on the way, too.
Road production has started here for HyuN. He might be making only units from there. He's going to be spotted here by Solar, so he's going to have an idea of what's going to be headed his way. He can start some bunch of spines if he wants to try and hold with this.
Yeah, the spine was fake by HyuN.
HyuN is supply blocked. Why would he be supply blocked at this stage of the game? He's trying to build an army and he can't do it.
He cancelled it. Yeah, that's actually very bad. He wants to move out. He wants to march across the map. He's making 2 overlords now at once, but this is really going to slow down his roach push.
Oh, HyuN starts at 3rd base.
Yeah, I mean, he's supply blocked. He can't make this attack work, so he's got to just...
You gotta stay the course, man.
It's perhaps a little similar to what Snoot did on that map. That was a very cool play, though, with those roaches, with those links, getting 3 bases up while you apply some pressure on the other side of the map.
Yeah. He's sort of gonna cancel the spines potentially here. Doesn't necessarily have to be honest. Maybe one of them.
It would be nice, but...
Canceling one, I think, is fine, but you don't want to cancel all of them because there are still roaches on the map.
Behind is HyuN. Just going to the 3rd base. Cancel, yeah, just one, that's fine. Be getting a little bit of economy back from this here, and the Spire is spotted here.
Yeah, good scout, very good scout. HyuN gets in a Zergling there, sees the Spire, knows exactly what he's up against, so, you know, Spore Crawlers are going to have to come into play very shortly. He's got to think about additional queens, how is he going to play it, is it going to be a Nidus network, is he going to try Infestors, Hydralisk? He's now just thrown down his lair, pretty late lair considering the Spire's almost done.
Yeah, Nidus is definitely something that I can see HyuN maybe bring out over here, you know, just got a bunch of queens, we're going to keep a close eye on that queen count, because if he goes up to 5, 6, 7 queens immediately, then there is a good chance that he will go for that.
Well, Solar's coming around this left-hand side. There's
another supply block, and it's a big one, man. He just starts off 4 overlords at once. Perhaps HyuN a little bit nervous over here.
Well, Queen's going to get sniped quite easily.
It's going to free up some supply.
Always the optimistic guy here.
Yeah. He even dropped the Cryptimo before.
I know. He got everything out of life, man. Like, there was no regrets there. He didn't die with energy.
Solar going very quickly into Infestation Pit behind this. Interesting. Might be thinking about a quick tech to something like Ultralisk after the initial few Mutalisks here.
That second queen there as well. Solar just making it look easy. That's really not supposed to happen. Picking off queens that easily while there are defensive banelings and queens on the side of the map of HyuN.
Solar has some great initiative here in this game already. Running around with Zerglings.
Yeah. How many spores is that?
That's was like 8, no?
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw as well, but that can't possibly be right.
It is.
I think it is.
What? That's a huge overreaction, and I think that's what Solar was hoping for, because he's going for the Infestation Pit. If he starts a hive now and reaches something like Ultralisks.
Yeah, that's a crazy amount of spore crawlers.
I mean, we often say you'd rather be safe than sorry. You know, you're economically ahead. Just make a bunch of spores, but with a bunch, we mean like maybe 4 to 5.
In this very case, you'd rather be sorry, I think.
I think so. I mean, he's been safe and poor. He's lost a lot of money building these. The Mules are out, though, and we do see the hive come into play with the melee upgrade coming in. So Todd, you picked it up right.
And another big supply block. Again, he's supply blocked and he's queuing up 5 Overlords at once. I guess the only defense to HyuN, making 8 Spore Crawlers, he did end up losing 2 Queens, so let's remember that.
Yeah. Well,
Solar is playing the mind game beautifully here. He anticipated that HyuN was going to turtle, that he was going to try and get infestors, and already taking too high here.
I mean,
this is going to be really dangerous.
He's going to have infestors, a couple of roaches and a few hydralisks against an onslaught of ultralisks that's going to come, and he's got no idea about this, and HyuN actually needs to scout. The thing is, he's got no overlords. Yeah. He doesn't really have any units out on the map because he's been really contained to his side. Look at the minimap. He's just contained around these 3 bases. He's got no idea what the follow-up is.
Like, I definitely think it's going to be Ultralisk, but there was a time that some Zerg players who played Spire over here, oh, nice pick. Well, we lost some Mullers there for a Baneling, that they would go for a Greater Spire immediately. If you have a couple of Infestors, you can get a couple of Broodlords out, that could be a very big play as well, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be Ultralisk, as, you know, like you already said it, Ultralisk are absolutely phenomenal against Roach Hydra.
I really like how Solar is keeping some Zerglings on the bottom left-hand side, by the way, ready to
counter-attack. As soon as he moves out, yeah, buy some more time, especially if he's not quite ready yet. I mean, the Hive's only just now finishing.
And what's so frustrating for HyuN is that he can't possibly scout right now. He has no idea about how quick this Hive may be.
This could be anything. This could be a mass roaches. This could be, you know, 4 bases. It could be as it is Ultras, but he's got no idea.
But right now, HyuN is probably noticing that there isn't that many mutas, so he must be starting to read into this, and that something's happening.
Gotta find out what's going on.
He's like, do you think he's gonna get picked up? Yeah. Oh, they already died, man.
That was a very short
The Ling.
He's just got no idea. He's moving out into the middle of the map now. There's Lings that are going for the counter to the 3rd, which were there.
Well, this could be a nice moment for HyuN to attack, though. He's up 50 army supply. He's attacking before the Ultralisk Cavern is down.
17 Banelings, though. I know he realizes that he's not quite ready with his Ultras. He's got spines.
Does he have Baneling speed, though?
I think so, yes. I think he completed.
Yes, okay, you're right.
Yeah. Solar anticipating that this could have been coming.
Fungal Growth could be very big against Banelings. First Fungal does go down. Second Fungal is awesome.
The Mulists are waiting until some of these Hydras get taken out from the Banelings, then they're going to swoop in to do some damage, but that was a great set of Fungals. Like, he's up 60 supply out in the middle of nowhere, and the Mulists have been called into action. There's a couple of Hydras left, and oh my god, what a beautiful, lucky timing here that HyuN's had. He had no idea what was going on. Then he strikes hard here.
That's a little bit of game sense, man. Ultralisk are on the way, but there is no Chitinous Plating. There is no Infestors anymore either for Solar. So even if you have Ultras, like Ultras are great against this army, but you need more than just 1 or 2 Ultras. You need Infestors with it. You need a couple Zerglings as well to trap these units. Here are the first Ultras, but you can see the armor upgrades are non-existent. They just die.
Oh my god, they're getting taken out so fast here, and there's a lot of units left for HyuN. 2 Ultralisks get destroyed on that 3rd base. Mulists are hardly left in the sky. I think there's 1 left just to destroy all of these roaches, and there's more Hydralisks and more roaches coming in here for HyuN. I can't believe this game is just turned on its head in an instant.
Great timing by HyuN. Absolutely phenomenal timing, and great Fungals as well, and all those Banelings. If those Banelings roll in and connect with the Hydras, this push will get cleaned up eventually. Right now, it's just not going to happen.
GG! HyuN ties the series up. Does he even realize he's won?
Face of a killer. Man on a mission.
Wow, that's unbelievable. He didn't know what was going on. He wasn't scouting. He hits an attack that wins.
But he moved that for information, I think. Like he saw the amount of mutas that there was on the map. He's like, something's wrong right now. I'm not seeing any roaches from you. I'm not seeing anything at all. I need to go across the map, see what's happening. He sees a bunch of spines, and then he immediately knows that he can be attacking. And that Fungal on the Banelings was massive.
Both, actually. I mean, on the right side and on the left side as well. He got 2 massive Fungals off, and both of them just connected, and all those Hydralisks survived, and then suddenly it becomes very difficult to clean up that army.
I can't believe Solar's going to be looking at that map and saying, if I had 20 more seconds, you're dead. But unfortunately, the attack came in at the perfect time.
20 seconds is an eternity in StarCraft 2. That's how it looks sometimes. And it just felt like these Ultras, they couldn't come fast enough to try and hold this.
I mean, this was definitely an everything or nothing play there for HyuN, because if he doesn't win with this push, you know, you're going to have to fight against Ultralisk, against Infestors, with just Roaches and Hydras. While you don't have a 4-base advantage or something, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. But he hit very hard on the right time.
But that's a good saving grace here for HyuN when you look at how the series overall is going down. I mean, dominating play in game number 1, pretty much dominating play in game number 2 for Solar. You know, HyuN steals the victory and grabs that, and it is tied up now. But as much as that is a good win for him, he's still got to step it up coming into game number 3.
The thing is, if he had gone down 0-2 in such an important match, again, he's trying to qualify for the global finals for good here, not have to play a tiebreaker match against Fantasy. he might have crumbled under the pressure. You know, Solar is just playing for the just for the title. That's still pretty big as well, but he's probably much more relaxed than HyuN right now here in this match.
I mean, back-to-back victories at DreamHack Open Stockholm. That would be something very unique in a performance that Solar could be very proud of. Things are still looking good for him though, but this moment, this very moment that we just saw in Coda, could be a huge shift in momentum.
Yeah. He wants to be the king of Stockholm, man. He wants to hit the club with you.
I believe there's already a club, or a king, sorry.
Already a club?
Yeah.
Club on the brain. Hashtag Roddy in the club here at DreamHack Open 2015. The next map is Terraform and we're loaded in. Down here to the bottom right-hand side, tying up this series in that previous map as the red and Zerg player playing for Team Rocket. It's HyuN!
It's a fantastic comeback in map number 2. His opponent starting on the top left-hand side, playing as the blue Zerg. It is Samsung Galaxy Solar.
A beast.
Looks a little sad after that game, perhaps a little bit thrown off. Because he must have felt he was doing so well as well. Just made 10 Mutalists, forced out 8 Spore Crawlers, had run-bys. He just had everything going for himself, so it looked good, and then suddenly you end up losing. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but you got to forget about it, got to move on. It's a best of 3 right now. Forget about those first 2 games. Best of 5 is just a best of 3.
I feel like these are some of the worst kind of games to lose, though. Like when everything's going according to plan, you feel like you've outsmarted your opponent, then suddenly he attacks and kills you, though. This has to be annoying here for Solar, who didn't anticipate this timing to come this early.
15 spawn and pull from Solar. Seems like both of these players taking it safe overall, no super aggressive play. HyuN's going to go 15 hatch though.
We saw that very aggressive play early today come out by Snoot on this map, and I still feel that push had potential. I really think that if they would do that all over again, I think Snoot could have done a lot more there. Maybe HyuN was looking at the game, it's like, well, if you build your buildings there, maybe I can make something happen. Maybe I can pick up that Roach Warren, and picking up the most important production structure in a mirror matchup is massive.
What do you guys think we're going to see here from these two in terms of tech? Do we see Solar continuing with trying to play with Aspire and HyuN? I guess keeping up with the success he's found with the Roaches and
It seems like Solar's really refined this 2-base Spire play. Like he's good against the attacks that can come in. He's got the different branches that he can transition to. It seems like it's a very staple strategy of his that I wouldn't be surprised to see used.
And he can go in multiple directions from Spire, right? It's not always Spire and then I make X amount of Mutalists. He can just go into Roaches, he can go into double Evo Roaches, he can go Roach Hydra, or he can try to rush up to Hive like he did in the previous game, which is probably the most risky version. HyuN is getting a Spore Crawler.
Oh, he's going to try and catch that Overlord.
He's probably going to be able to.
Yep.
With how good Solar is, I feel like if he just goes into Mutas and then plays standard behind it, gets Roaches, he's going to be, I guess, a clear favorite here to do well against
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, like
both
this
players
play.
keep checking the gas of each other, and this time HyuN's going to punish it.
Who started this? Was it Cats?
Yeah, Cat stole it to Sue, I think, a long time ago on that Habitation Station game. You know, it may look like this Overlord's going to get away, but Spore Crawlers have way too much damage.
Takes it down.
Special effects by Apollo, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, I'm trying to keep up with the Roddy soundboard, but not quite there yet. I'll make my own one day.
Right. You've had a couple ones. Super duper damage, super duper push, or something like that. What was
something
it,
like that, Roddy. Something like that.
I don't think anybody ever wants to hear that one again.
All right, so Zergling speed coming in for Solar, and nothing from HyuN. No gas is taken at all.
All right.
It's funny.
Is actually going to make his way
it's funny because down the line, actually, that Spore could come in handy. That right now he's sending that across the map because it's got no purpose for now, and he might just be trying to catch another Overlord across the map if
he's going to root it right next to the Queen, and then he's going to make a big push, and this Spore Crawler will supply block.
Oh, there they are. They're going to kiss.
No, he doesn't want it. He's like, I gave you a chance to make up for it, but I'm done.
Trying to run away. Don't you run away from me.
Kiss and chase Overlord version.
Ling just running around over here. There was double gas going down in the main base for HyuN. I really don't know what he tried to do with this Spore Crawler. It's kind of a weird sacrifice. It would be nice to keep it alive a little bit longer, I feel.
HyuN's playing a little bit greedy here behind this, actually.
Maybe that's why. Maybe the Spore Crawler was the magnet over here to play greedy. He's like, just attack my Spore. Meanwhile, I'm making nothing but drones on the other side of the map.
He was counting on Solar not to make Lings, and right now Solar's added on a few ones, but he's not on that many just yet that he's going to be particularly threatening. Did he just attack his own Cryptumors, by the way? Like, they're a little bit... Oh, he
he couldn't build an extra structure in here, which is going to be the Roach Warrant.
I do like the position of this Roach Run a lot more. It makes it a little bit harder to attack, right? Because it's kind of tucked in between both evolution chambers. These queens are a little bit exposed. The Lynx might be able to get one. There's one more queen helping out. One transfuse is actually going to be enough. I think HyuN is going to be able to keep all queens alive now. One will get picked off. Second one actually getting surrounded too.
Wow, it's beautiful there for Solar.
Overextended a little bit there. Thought he was playing against the Protoss maybe, so he got confident. But
man, those Lynx did surprisingly well against those queens. Getting a little bit too far ahead of the party. Spire will go down once again for Solar. Is there a layer on the way yet for HyuN?
Not yet.
He's making Lynx.
Yeah, 12 Lynx on the way.
Carapace.
Maybe melee? Nah, it's going to be missile attacks.
Yeah, double Evo for HyuN here, so looking to play that Roach heavy style.
He has almost nothing over here. Okay, there's one more queen behind him, but that queen doesn't have any energy. I think HyuN is going to end up losing this queen. Yes, again. That's queen number 3 that went down already.
Everything's going wonderfully right here for Solar. He's picked off 3 queens. The creep tumors outside the front here. These queens don't have energy in the first place. He's lost a few of them, so no creep spread towards this third.
Lair still didn't start here for HyuN. He's getting additional queens.
But it's
nice, sure, but
it's so late to make a Roach push, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that Spire is more than 60% done, I believe.
Yeah, he must be starting the lair shortly. It has to start. He's building 2 more queens, though, so he actually can't start it yet.
HyuN even sees an Overseer flying into his main. Right now, he knows that there's probably mutas that are going to be started very, very soon. It's not looking good.
Solar is making 2 Spinecrawlers right now. He's probably a little bit confused. Like, what are you doing? Like, aren't you supposed to attack me right now since you don't have a layer yet? But that's not going to be the case. If Solar can get a cancel on this hatchery, that would be absolutely massive. Where are those Lynx from HyuN?
HyuN looking to try and counter-attack here.
To where? There's no third.
This is horrible for HyuN. He lost his hatchery on the right side of the map. That's really not good.
No, it's not good at all here. And Spinecrawl left out in the open for some reason. Don't even know what that's over there for. And as you can see, this is going to get cleaned up here for Sol. He's running out a little bit of Lynx, but the Mulas are not too far away from popping, so he should be fine here. Moves into a better position.
Nah, he still has all the Lynx as well. Even if he ends up losing 1 or 2 drones over here, I don't think that's all that bad with the massive tech advantage that he's created for himself. And HyuN, his entire build, I feel, was evolved around keeping that third base alive. He just had no idea where those Zerglings were from Solar, and Solar getting a snipe on it is so big.
It's almost like his entire everything was around the queen staying alive. The creep spread, the defense, the pushing up towards his third.
And I feel like this is the perfect kind of game for Solar to open with the few mutas, snipe a bunch of overlords, and behind this, not try anything fancy like going for Ultralisk. Just go for his own roaches and be in a fantastic position to close.
Especially if he can keep the denial on this third base down, right? I mean, he's got Lings and Mutalisk now together.
There's no creep spread. There's not a whole lot of queens out there. The Spore Crawler is uprooted right now, so one more queen will get picked off. Man, this is just an awesome game for Solar. I have no idea if you're HyuN right now, how you're supposed to play from this position. Maybe a big 2-2 push or something?
Yeah, and look, there's no creep spread, right? So there's not going to be any Spore Crawlers on this third base. So Solar's just building more Lings, more Mulies. He's going to keep the pressure to deny this third again. How is he going to defend it?
Maybe, I don't think he's ever supposed to keep it alive. Maybe a Nidus play then, isn't that like one of the only options? Or just try to get a bunch of Hydralisk out. But he's going to stay on 2 bases forever.
I think HyuN is just counting on his upgrades here to save him, much like a 2-Forge Protoss. He's on double Evo.
He's going to lose Roach speed, he's going to lose his Roach Warren. These other Evolution Chambers are also exposed.
Well, it's too late, man. This Roach Warren is going to go down. I don't think there's a whole lot of energy available. One transfuse did go down, but this Roach Warren will get picked off, and that's such a big pick off.
And Glial Reconstitution was denied here as well. That's huge.
There's Roaches making the way to the other side of the map, but the rocks have been destroyed now. There's a bunch of Zerglings. The Mulas come back. This game's a disaster for HyuN. Nothing is going right.
Nothing makes sense either, though.
It's so funny to have 2-2 on the way, but no Roach Warren, actually, for HyuN.
Yeah, and no Hydralisk then just yet, right?
Yeah, I don't think he went for it.
He has no anti-air. There's a bunch of Mulas. You got to respect them a little bit.
There's the anti-air, but they're surrounded by Lings now. And the Mulas come in. He's going to take this down. And then if the Queens are gone, there is 100% no anti-air left over. And this is just absolutely domination coming out from Solar. A cancel goes on to the third base. HyuN gets pushed back to 2.
He's just light years ahead right now. He's going to work on one of these Spore Crawlers as well, but there are plenty of spores, so I guess losing one is not the end just yet. But, a couple Overlords here and there. This is like a playing field right now for Solar, man. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
You know what's crazy? Solar, I'm pretty sure he went for a Roach Warren and he was playing on a transition, but he's just been going so well with the mutas that, okay, I guess he cancelled it, because I'm pretty sure he was getting a Roach Warren at some point. He was just going so well from a point onwards, he was like, I don't even need to make Roaches, I'm just going to kill with mutas and more Lings.
And Banelings, he's getting Baneling speed on the way now too.
That's actually,
the trap.
Like he really needs, he's just showing off right now, man. Like he needs to trap some Roaches on the other side of these rocks. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Well, HyuN's got a lot of money, remember. He's got 1,500 minerals and 1,000 gas. He's going to be building 10 Hydralisk, and they will have good upgrades. But the thing is, he's going to be so limited on the Hydralisk count. When he has Baneling, Solar, that is, he's going to come crashing through. There's no Fungals in this game. There's no Infestors to lock down these Banelings from crashing in. If the Banelings hit these Hydralisks, the Mutalisks will do the rest.
I mean, that is a lot of Hydralisk on the way. But of course, I guess you didn't want to make them one by one because they would just get picked off one by one. Yeah. But I mean, this third base is so incredibly late. I'm not even sure if it's worth trying to make it.
Getting a macro rush?
I mean, he just has to push, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
he's all in.
Yeah, he just has to go for it.
And you sent it as well. Like, it's all about the Banelings. There we go. A lot of Banelings being morphed.
Yeah.
All that Solar needs is a couple of Banelings connecting with the Hydralisk, and then he's going to be more than fine. He's even going to get +1 on these Banelings too.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, pretty brutal, to be honest. And somehow he's got to split the Hydralisks up. The Roaches have to kill the Banelings really, really fast. And that's all that Solar's going to focus on. 9 more Banelings being morphed in. And I think this is going to be a slaughterhouse for the Hydralisks.
Maybe a couple of Banelings from the north and the south?
And the east and the west, Roddy. They're going to have to come from multiple directions. HyuN is going to be in a lot of trouble here. He's moving forward. He doesn't even have Hydralisk speed.
He doesn't have muscular augment. It's taking forever to get across the map. The army supplier even, but that's because there is a lot of Roaches and Solar. Can he connect here with the Banelings that is made?
I mean, all the Banelings shouldn't come from one point, though, because then attack move may actually be good enough. Well, it seems like all of the Banelings will roll in from one side, but will they get the connections that they're looking for?
And it looks like they're going to. There's Hydralisk just dying instantly, and there's so many Mutalisks left in the skies. It's an absolute slaughter here. The Mutalisks just have to go over and finish everything off at this point. This is going to be an easy victory for Solar.
Yeah, he's not in army supply, though, but I mean, it takes forever to reinforce with slow Hydralisk. So right now, these Mutalisks will reign supreme and will clean up everything that HyuN had on this side of the map, and it's still 3 base against 2.
Yeah, this is a wonderful position for Solar to be in. He's going to clean up the rest of these units in the middle of the map. 2 Roaches for free, easy peasy. HyuN is not going to give up, though. There's so much on the line. He's got an Infestation pick coming out, so he's going to try and get towards Infestors and, of course, try to lock down these units with fungal growth, but he's in a very difficult position. The economy is massive.
I mean, he had some fantastic upgrades, and he goes for an Infestation pit behind this. I guess he's hoping that Solar stays on Mutas and Zerglings, and somehow he gets, like in a dream world, he gets a bunch of Infestors out, lands a bunch of Fungals, but it's going to be so hard. Being stuck on 2 bases against 3 right now is really going to be the biggest disadvantage that HyuN has in this game.
Yeah, I think the only thing he can hope for is
the trap!
Oh, eventually comes to play, and he's going to pick off a couple of Hydralisks and Queens here, and this is easy pickings for Solar, extending his lead even further. And even Lings, look at this, he can even trap off these Roaches.
Yep, things just go from bad to worse for HyuN. He's going to try to engage actually these Hydralisks. I'm not sure if that's the best fight these Lings could have gone for, but again, he's going to pick up all these Roaches, and HyuN is so poor already. I do like what you said though, Todd. The only thing he's hoping for is that Solar goes super stubborn mode and only makes Lings, Banelings, and Mutalisks, and then eventually with, you know, Dream Fungal somehow turn this game around.
The beautiful Fungals.
The beautiful Fungals. We need some beautiful Fungals in this game, otherwise HyuN is down and out 2-1. And he's going to slowly push up towards his third. He's running out of money. He's got to take this third base.
HyuN reminds me of a Protoss, stuck on 2 bases against his will, just trying to make something happen in the game.
And I mean, if Baneling morph here, 22 Banelings. He's coming for the killing blow now. He's coming for one last fight. The rocks are gone completely. Easy access for these Banelings to come rolling in.
HyuN's going to be caught before Fungal can hit, potentially.
Whoa, actually, Army Supply is pretty close. These Banelings need better connections. Eventually, they do get it, though. And the Spore Crawler dies as well. A little bit of a stubborn fight, but I guess it doesn't matter because Solar is just so far ahead.
He's so far ahead. Banelings come rolling in, and the Mutalisks are going to clean everything up here. The Infestors didn't even have enough energy for the Fungal Ghosts. Now they come in, but it's a little bit too late. Sorry. GG Solar goes 2-1.
Making Tasteless proud with those GGs, Apollo.
Doing my best.
As Solar, once again, with a dominant performance here.
That was just an awesome game for Solar, man. Like, it always feels great to win a game in the grand finals of a tournament, but when you win it like that, where just everything goes right for you, every single thing you want to do goes awesome, well, it almost feels like 2 victories within one, because it's just like, you know you're not going to lose that game anymore. The moment he killed that hatchery, the moment he won that fight on the left side of the map, the moment those Mutalisks picked off the Roach Ward as well before Roach Speed was ready, that's just like, lol, this game is ridiculous. It's like everything is going well for me.
It was like the ultimate snowball. Going down a mountain, it kept on growing and growing and growing, and eventually Solar just closed it out nice and safe. It's very impressive, I have to say. Those Mutas, like, you can tell how much practice he's had with them, because the control is perfect and the reads as well.
Yeah, do you think he'd move away from it now when he's up 2-1? Would he go into this next map and move?
No.
It just seems like it's just working
Yeah, I think this game of Terraform just shows, once again, going 2-base Spire is one thing, but he doesn't always do the same thing once he has a couple of Mutalisks. It's either Quick Hive, or it's Roaches, or it's Roach Hydra, or it's more Mutalisks. This game, it was more Mutalisk, and it was just a brilliant call.
I really like the way actually Solar adapted. I feel like both would have been good, but he was going to go into Roaches. I'm pretty sure I saw a Roach run start as natural, and then all of a sudden, he must have caught something on the map, and he was like, you know what, I don't even need that. More Mutas, more Links, I'll finish you.
I mean, he killed like 7 or 8 Queens with just Zerglings, and then eventually with Mutalisk as well. And the moment you can kill a Spore Crawler with Mutalisk, well, that's when you know you're in control of the game, because that's not normally a fight you take.
Controlled it from the very beginning, and now moves 1 game away from taking his second StarCraft 2 tournament, second DreamHack championship here. And it's just moments away. HyuN has a lot of work to do. And here we are, loaded into game number 4.
Starting on the right-hand side of the map, it is the challenger who needs to bring it back. It is Rockat's HyuN.
Got a lot of work to do up against this guy, as the blue Zerg player on the left-hand side of Bridgehead, playing for Samsung Galaxy Khan. He's done it before. Can he do it again, Stockholm? It's Solar!
On match point here, this best of 5. Would love to win it again.
He's played phenomenally well so far throughout this entire tournament. He made it past that semi-final Titan that was waiting for him. We all thought ZvZ was going to do it, but Solar said, I would like to play him again. I would like to get my revenge, and he did. And he must have got so much confidence out of finally defeating ZvZ.
Even his Overlord movement here, you see the second Overlord moving down south. Just
what?
Very beautiful Overlord movement.
You're reading into the Overlord movement, Apollo?
Yeah, man. He's moving it south. That's a sign of confidence. Just everything he's doing is working out wonderfully. Look at this.
It's been a long day, hasn't it?
Look at him. And he's just like, we're not even close this time.
Just wait.
Look at it. Wait. Not even close.
2 passing ships in the night.
I mean, sometimes we do see, you know, the Zerglings taking a small detour trying to avoid the Overlord. So I guess with that, he just wanted to make sure there weren't a couple of very early Zerglings running across. But he went for an early pull anyway himself. So even if that would have been the case, he would have been in a great position.
All right, Extractor's been placed down now from Solar inside that main base. This is a map that's quite common not to get an Extractor at all, because you can have Queens on the ramp just north or south, depending on where you are.
We saw a lot of crazy games actually on this map, especially when Protoss was involved. Maybe it's time we saw a crazy ZvZ here on it.
Yeah, I must say I'm a little bit surprised so far. Where's that crazy aggressive HyuN that we were kind of expecting and hoping for? The successful aggressive HyuN we've seen throughout the entirety of this tournament. We saw in the Hell It's Cebu Time tournament as well in Canada. He's playing, in my opinion, a little bit too passive, and that's really playing into Solar's strengths.
Solar is soul reading him though. Every single thing that HyuN's been doing. Some of these games, Solar knew how he was going to go. The one single attack that HyuN went for that Solar kind of misread a little bit because it came too early is what cost him 1 single game so far. But other than that, Solar's been pretty clean with his reads and decision making.
That's just an ongoing story, man. It doesn't end.
Where are they going? Like, there's nothing.
The blue oval's like, follow me up here, bro.
It's like, it's like after school time. Like, I promised to be home by 5. Doesn't matter. I know a spot.
I know a spot we can go. All right, so are we going to see some types of aggression? It's kind of unlikely, really, in the early mid stages of this. It's, like I said, kind of easy to wall off. So, Zergling speed from Solar. Is it going to come in for HyuN? He's at 100 gas.
I think this is definitely a good map for HyuN to try and play a little bit more passive, just like he did earlier in the one map that he won. You know, take 3 bases, get a bunch of roaches, get tunneling claws, and then break those back rocks and try to attack all of the place against Solar.
Wow. Instead, it's going to be a very, very quick layer, like you said, Todd. This is kind of a defensive play. It's a defensive greedy play, so to speak. 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Solar is actually dropping an evolution chamber. It might just be part of a wall of... No, it's not at all.
Carapace?
Yeah. Zergling's getting good scout here from HyuN. Sees the evolution chamber. Could be Carapace. Could be the +1 missile attack.
Could be a cancel right now because it's been scouted.
Also could be, I suppose.
Yeah. This actually could have been very encouraging for HyuN to go into Aspire himself with such an earlier lair, but since he's taking his time, taking the gases and going for a road run, it looks like he wants to play this otherwise.
Did he cancel the evolution chamber?
Yes, he did. After the Link scouted it, he cancelled it.
He switched up to go lair of his own and added on a couple of extra gases, so Maybe Solar was planning to do something different, but said, nah, it's back to the Spire play.
I mean, if it's going to be a Spire for Solar, this time a potential Roach attack by HyuN can hit a lot quicker and a lot earlier because his layer is so quick. He already has that Roach one. Maybe just start Roach speed and then just rally Roaches across the map immediately.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be here. Roach speed starts, +1 attack starts.
I followed you and look what happens. He actually gets away.
Gonna go up to 3 bases immediately. Solar doesn't really have a whole lot of units out on the map. He's making a few more links, but he doesn't have enough links.
Good scout here from Solar. Both of them being able to get into each other's bases, and he sees the lair done. He sees the Roach Warren been added on.
How do you guys like that Solar went for his lair on his natural instead of main base here?
I think it's fine. Doesn't change.
Don't think it matters
too
much. No.
I mean, maybe eventually he's worried about the rocks being broken down, and LA has a little bit more HP, so it's a little harder to snipe that base. But this time he's still going for a Spire, and I do feel this is exactly what HyuN is hoping for, right? He's already making Roaches, so if he goes for a Roach attack, this time it's going to hit a lot quicker and a lot harder than it did in the previous maps. I'm not sure. What do you think is the best case right now? Go through the rocks or go via the natural? Or via the main, I mean?
Probably via the main, because it's going to take a while to break the rocks. Even though the Roaches will bring them down quite fast, it's just better to blitz through. No matter what Solar has on that ramp, he's going to break it easier than he will the rocks.
If you know that your opponent keeps on going for Mutas like this, can't you go for a Nidus at some point and try and kill him?
I mean, this is a very big attack already. Look at the army supply. It's 32. There are 6, 7, 8 more Roaches on the way for HyuN. Solar's going to try to buy some time with a counter-attack, but it's going to take a long time before he takes care of these rocks. Wow. He will be able to intercept a couple of Roaches, and that's a very nice start again for Solar.
Yeah, and he also sees that Roach speed is done. He sees quite a few Roaches as well, so he knows what he's going up against. He's added on more
not seeing
spines.
this here with the rocks.
HyuN has got to go, man. He's really got to start running across the map. 3 Spine Crawlers on the way. The Spire is about to finish up.
Solar's buying so much time. He's killed a Queen here. He's getting the rocks at the back.
That Queen didn't even inject here before dying, even though it had enough energy. And now the Mutas are going to be in production here for Solar.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to run off the ramp. He cancels the hatchery. That's the start.
Oh my god, the Queens are like an endangered species here for HyuN in this series.
And he hasn't even realized these rocks have been broken down. There's spines here, so these couple of Roaches aren't going to do anything. And there's 10 Mutalisks about to pop now. The time window has gone for HyuN.
Oh, you might be able to see this actually kind of randomly.
This is going to be horrible, like you said, man. Once those rocks are down, Solar will just be able to run in over and over and over again with Lynx. A single Spore Crawler is not going to be enough anymore because Lynx can work on the Spore while Mutas take care of the rest. This is really bad for HyuN.
Yeah, HyuN is not ready here for this base to be hit in a second. He doesn't have any units there except the one single Queen. Zerglings are going to start getting in there.
He's going to get the Queen, he's going to get the drones, he's going to take the Spore Crawler nice and easy. And this is so easy. Everything is working out for Solar.
Of course he's going to get the Queen. He's getting all the Queens, man. There's not a single Queen on the map anymore, pretty much. He's killed so many. This is going to be so hard for HyuN right now to defend because he doesn't have a whole lot of Queens. He has 1 Queen and Spore Crawlers are out of position. How is he supposed to keep this base alive?
He can't lose the base. That's so much of a production in an economy line. And all he's going to do is target it down. Solar's going to bring it down. And this is wonderful play for him. He's into the drone line inside the main base as well. And Solar continues his masterclass here in the finals.
HyuN's getting turned in claws, but Burrow was denied now. And HyuN, he didn't finish these rocks across the map earlier, so now it took quite a bit of time for him to finally clean this, and Solar's going to be flying back with the Mutas to try and clean all of these Roaches.
Yeah. There are Spine Crawlers, there are Zerglings, there's a Queen, and the Mutalisks are making their way back to this side of the map as well. Solar is not really going to lose a whole lot over here, and he takes a commanding lead here in game number 4.
He does, and he's so close to winning his 2nd championship, and he really has played this final like a true champion. And currently HyuN is up against it. He needs to find a way to turn this around, but from this position, after losing a base like that, oh boy, is it going to be hard.
Yeah, Fantasy is probably cheering louder than anybody right now. I'm sure he wants Solar to win quite badly.
Fantasy is buying rounds in the club right now for everyone, boys.
Hashtag buddy in the club.
That's where you will join him in a second, isn't it?
No, I will not. It's been a long day of StarCraft, boys.
Zergling's going to come down. This is always going to be an easy entrance for Solar to attack into, and he may just get a straight kill on this.
Not paying attention to your rocks on bridgehead is just devastating, especially when you play against Ling Muta. That's just a nightmare scenario. Here we go again. No cancel either. Things just go from bad to worse for HyuN in this series.
And Solar going to play the same style. We have the Baling Nest coming in. Oh no, he's actually decided to throw the Hive down instead.
Solar being really confident. And I think he can be here because he knows that HyuN is just so far behind it. The only thing he's going to be able to do is just kind of sit back,
Queens,
take his time.
Boys, Queens! Not this time.
Sean gets very happy as at least 1 Queen does make it through the next phase in this game.
Hopefully. I know there's quite a few Queen's been murdered in this game.
How does this keep happening? HyuN's never ready here to defend his base. He's going to get cancelled again.
The Mullers keep taking away any overlord that could spot for this, and so you just have no idea, no units left over.
Now even these spores start being taken down as well, and that's going to make it absolutely impossible for HyuN, as he just has no anti-air other than these 4 infestors that are on their way.
He's got to cross his fingers and his toes for this one to land the infestor and land the fungals on.
Solo's actually committing quite heavily on Mutas. He's made so many of them. If a money fungal lands here, and he can chain fungal these Mutas, HyuN might have a chance, but it's not looking all that good, Kev.
It's definitely not looking all that good for HyuN right now. But it doesn't mean, you're not the one that tries. It's a tournament final, it's game number 4. It's a best of 5, everything or nothing for him right now, so why not try to stick it up? Why not try to hope for those miraculous fungals?
Well, Mutalist floating around a very dangerous area. Take down an overlord.
Solo is relentless. He's so good with it. I wouldn't even be surprised if he somehow...
Look at this, he's running so good. He just finds these roaches in the middle of the map and he's going to bring these down nice and easy.
This time, I don't see a timing by HyuN hitting before the Ultralists are out, by the way.
Not this time.
Very scary.
Not this time.
I think I agree with you in that one, Todd. Not a ZvZ expert.
I'm glad we agreed for once and it took this much of a lead for it to happen.
Roaches move away as the banelings go in. Of course they would. And he's going to be able to take 3 drones down.
That could have been worse, but for once he's able to keep this hatchery alive. Like HyuN right now, he has one hope, and that is just, stay as defensive as possible and just try to max out. And whenever you max out, you always have a chance. Even when your army is worse, max out is max out. So you're going to work with a lot of units, and maybe you can somehow turn it around. But needless to say,
is max out. Roddy 2015. These roaches are going to get chased here by Zerglings and Banelings, and they're going to fall very quickly. With the Overseer that was in position to spot them early enough to make sure they weren't going to do much. HyuN somehow is moving across the map here. So much for not hitting the timing.
Remember, he has Borrow too, so he could borrow these infestors, pop up and grab a fungal like that.
I mean, he's actually ahead in army supply right now. Of course, there are plenty of spine crawlers. First Banelings will start rolling in.
Fungal!
I mean, where are the queens? I mean, he's got fungals, right? But if he dodges the fungals, the Mule's going to wreck everything here.
This time there is kindness plating on the way as well, and these spine crawlers buying a little bit of time. It has to pretty much be now or
here we
never.
go, the spread comes in, and Solo's just going to take the fight here. There's almost no anti-air. The queens are stuck at the back. A couple of fungals come in. But Solo's going to take this fight, and he's going to take down all of the nice Bora from the infestors. He grabs a couple of Mutalists, and that was actually a pretty good survival of the units of HyuN.
The Ultralists are starting to come out one by one, and kindness plating is going to finish up, and that's going to make life so much harder for HyuN.
Yeah, even those roaches getting caught now. A lot of them are going to be dying.
Time for the Ultras to come
to my
play.
little friends. Here they are.
And this looks like an army that cannot be stopped. GG Solar takes his second DreamHack championship. 3 games to 1 against HyuN. What a fantastic performance here today.
Walks up the stage and grabs that trophy, man. He knows how it feels, and he's going to lift his second DreamHack trophy. I think he was phenomenal in this series, man. He was definitely, things were going his way, but he was just playing awesome ZvZ.
His second star, as he self-proclaims himself as the king of Stockholm here. What a fantastic run he's had, and sadly for HyuN, he will have to go up against Fantasy in a tiebreaker match to try and secure himself a spot for BlizzCon.
All right, let's give it up for Solar, your DreamHack Stockholm champion. Such dominant play in that grand final. HyuN had been red hot going into it, but you just seemed to kind of cool him down. I'm going to ask the cliche question, how does it feel right now to win your second DreamHack?
Just I want to say that I love Stockholm, this city. Awesome.
Well, he's not nervous anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 2-time champion. But we're going to present to you guys some gigantic checks, I do believe. So our runner-up, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. Put on a hell of a show. HyuN, please come up here, buddy. He'll take his time. There we go. HyuN! There you go. And HyuN's BlizzCon hopes do stay alive. As it stands right now, he's going to play a tiebreaker against Fantasy. And last but certainly not least, again, let's put our hands together for your DreamHack Stockholm champion, Solar.
You want to do it? Okay.
All right. Now, you've handled one of these before, right? Yeah. You got to shake it up real good, and then shoot it out.
A phenomenal finish to a great tournament here. Solar taking his second championship at the DreamHack Open Stockholm and also acing that champagne bottle.
He nailed it, man. Not many people in the history of DreamHack have been able to pop the top of that off very well.
I think Curious's manager did it better, but that was okay.
He did it himself in record time, to say the least.
I think he has a little bit more experience popping champagne bottles as well.
In the club with you,
A well-deserved final victory, though, for Solar. I mean, he played so well today. His games against Snoot were great. His games against Esther West were great. And the finals were flawless. I mean, even the game that he lost, he probably should have won too. Like, let's be honest there. It was an absolutely dominant performance in the final.
And the roads to BlizzCon here, so to speak, with the points and all of these players competing for it was so exciting. Down to the last match here, down to the grand finals with HyuN. And it's not even over. The tiebreaker match between Fantasy and HyuN, the dream.
Yeah, for sure. Something we hoped for in the start of this weekend. We took a close look at all those storylines. You know, as West is going to be able to secure a spot. Yes, he did. Fantasy and Dark, how far will they go? Well, not very far. And then the guy with 10%, he made it all the way to the final, defeating some players like HyuN against Rain. Whoever thinks that HyuN is a favorite going into that series. He had one hell of a run, but you know, this guy that we're looking at right now, Solar, he was phenomenal, man. And he had to work for it so hard, especially in that, in my opinion, best series of the weekend, semi-final against SOS.
Yeah, both of these players really coming out as victors in their own respective right. Solar with that championship, a great finish to a great year for this young man, and HyuN keeping his BlizzCon dreams alive. The story continues for our Zerg second place finisher, and it's really, I think, really built into the drama of this tournament. We talked so much, and of course, it's just been an absolutely fantastic tournament so far. A really great finish of the StarCraft tournament here, and of course, those of you watching, we'll invite you back tomorrow to finish off the Counter-Strike tournament here. But man, what a great tournament. So many upsets for both of these guys to actually get here.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it, Nate. I think you also did a great job as being our host. We've been a little hard on you, but we love being with you here on the desk. I think the audience was absolutely awesome as well. So many friendly, lovely Swedish people over here. Yeah. And also international people. Met Germans, met people from Belgium. You know, that's the cool thing about DreamHack. People come from all over. Our host,
was all right, I guess.
He was all right now. Jeff, you were
great. He made the most of these interviews. You made them really fun.
Behind Red Eye, Smix, Chover. I mean, the list goes on.
Funka was on point as always. Everybody did their job right, it seems.
I had a lot of fun being
Great job, everybody.
Oh, a little circle jerk over here behind the desk, but it's great.
We can take one last look at the bracket as we continue to do that action and show you guys how everything shaped up here at DreamHack Open Stockholm. There were a lot of games played. It was quite awesome. You guys can continue to talk about how awesome I am.
Do you remember in tour when Richard Lewis came up and was like, no, good job, everybody, come on, everybody hug, on the camera at the end? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He's like, and Austin, shout out to you, bro. Richard Lewis went ham at the end there.
He wanted to sign out in his own way, and he did.
He did. He gave an epic speech as well. It went on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's been great. And of course, those of you who are looking for more DreamHack StarCraft, there was recently an announcement. There will be StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void at DreamHack Winter with quite a hefty prize pool. So definitely worth checking out. There's going to be so much more to see before the year is over.
I think it's $50,000, right?
50,000 prize pool.
Pretty big.
The first Legacy of the Void tournament, too. It's going to be huge.
It will be awesome. And we are ready to look at the bracket one final time to give a very brief recap of how everything went down this weekend. We look at our champion, Solar, started off in the round of 32, defeating Swedish player Mini Razor, moving through the Korean Hurricane, defeating Snoot in a nail-biting series, and then similarly nail-biting, the victory over SOS.
So much purple, man, and I mean, it really showed, like, a lot of these Zergs that they advanced, they went very late, but in the end, we at least had Reality and SOS, you know, repping Terran and Protoss towards the end up until the semifinals.
We had 5 Protoss in that left upper bracket, and still HyuN made it out. I mean, that deserves a little bit of a shout out as well. He did great there.
Yeah.
HyuN and 5 Protosses enter a bar.
Yeah. HyuN leaves.
One of them takes a ticket to BlizzCon with him. It's certainly a great achievement for HyuN as we look forward to seeing him fight for his life in that 16th, 17th decider. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome as well. That's great. I mean, it doesn't happen very often that we have 2 winners in a tournament final. But right now, HyuN obviously would have loved to win and just clinch that spot immediately. And of course, win DreamHack as well. But at the same time, he must be so damn happy and proud with the way that he performed over here.
Yeah,
it's going to be one match for $5,000 basically, and a chance to win more, but since he's against Hero, probably just $5,000.
Yeah, I mean, whoever ends up moving from that position, either Fantasy or HyuN, will still have their work cut out for them as they make their way to the global finals. But that's it from me. You guys have any last words you want to say?
Yeah, it was awesome to be back here. First DreamHack in 3 years, and I enjoyed working with you lovely folks. And the audience was awesome, DreamHack crew was awesome, so I had a blast, Nathan. And you are the #1 host.
You are the #1 host.
Share it though, share it.
I'll accept #2 now, mate. You did really well.
Couldn't have done it, of course, and we couldn't have done this tournament without the help of our awesome sponsors that made all of this possible. Big shout out and big thank you to ISO, Razer, Intel, and Monster Energy. We'll see you guys for DreamHack Winter in a few months. That's all from us tonight. Thank you and goodbye.